Hi, we did a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from a world not beyond. I'm your host, Lexi. Joining me as always is Kid Native Blake Elbow and EUGENE'S Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Ass Kicking, but afraid you get your ass kicked for asking.
Indeed.
Collectively MMA Pancholes. And a special shout out for the show Stomper.
Ah, yeah. I
loved it. It was a great show, man.
It was amazing that I pulled that off with nary a screw up, and I only had to use one helpline, and that was to Alexi. And that was like the day after.
Well, I like the shout out though during the show. It's like Alexi's so like, the fuck is Alexi?
Right. I was flailing, and then one of the listeners too said, you blocked it from YouTube. I was like, oh no, and he actually figured out and just said, just do this, and I did it. It was great.
Well, sounds good. So, Eugene, you're Cody Garbrandt. How can your brand capitalize on Jean-Claude Van Damme's accidental kick to your face, live and in public, if you will?
Well, for your brand, I'm Cody, right? So This premise is I'm Cody. For me to do any careful triage on my brand, I would have to find my brand. And my brand right now, presently, is enveloped in mist and wood and mist. And piles of wood, and maybe somewhere off in the distance, a Chris Weidman or Anderson Silva is bumping around, thinking, "Is that my belt? Is that my belt?" Cody Garbrandt. I mean, I'm sorry. He's still a punchline to a joke for me. Who the fuck is that guy? You know what they say? To be a champion, you gotta defend your belt. To hold a championship belt, you have to defend the belt. I don't think that really happened, right, in any successful, meaningful way with this guy. So, I mean, Jean-Claude. Let's do the math. Jean-Claude Van Damme got knocked out by whom?
Wasn't he? Nobody. He kicked somebody accidentally.
No. Let's go back a little bit.
Are you talking back in the day?
Yes.
He got in a fight with. Oh my God. This is the most ridiculous bit of trivia. I can't remember.
I want to say Judo Gene LaBelle, but I'm not entirely. Judo Gene LaBelle choked out Steven Seagal,
right?
And then there was a pants pissing incident. But then only one of these guys that has any, traditional martial arts credibility is freaking Dolph Lundgren, man. The only guy who's out on a circuit that's reputable. Jean-Claude Van Damme, unless he's fighting one of his ex-wives, is not really that impressive. And this is a guy who accidentally kicked you in the face. If I had a brand, and if I was Cody Garbrandt, I would probably try to bring my non-existent sense of humor into play and say, hey, when you roll with the big dogs, stuff like this happens. Even though by no measure on any planet is Jean-Claude Van Damme a big dog, but he is a sort of celebrity of minor note. So I would underscore the fact that, you probably spent the weekend.
Chuck Zito.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you. Chuck Zito.
That's from Andrew Grosby, our viewer.
Ah, nice.
Pamela Anderson's bodyguard.
That's right. And a noted Hell's Angel and former dance instructor, Chuck Zito, as well as.
Didn't he inflate his Hell's Angels creds?
You can't really do that, man. If you're don't make the mistake of ever saying that again. If you're flying the colors, they're not letting you fly. They will actually take you to fucking court. I'm not even talking about an alley beating. You cannot fly the rockers or the colors lest you are a member. Now, if they gave it to him like an honorary degree, that's on them. I got no idea. But if I've seen him cage side at the fights with the vest on, it's not a question I'm going to end his time with Tyson. So I try to use my non-existent sense of humor, and maybe those things I can pull myself out of the damp mistiness of the Lost Battalion, where I found myself since talking a big game and getting knocked the fuck out by TJ Dillashaw, the last guy he probably needed or wanted to get knocked out by.
See, I thought you had a different kind of brand suggestion for him, because I thought you came pretty close to calling him Cardi
Cardi B?
Garbrandt. So like, yeah, Cardi G. Cardi G.
No, that would be a bump up in celebrity. That would be a bump up in celebrity for that guy. I'm not even gonna make that joke. First of all, let me find him. Let me find him first, and then and he's like about the rematch, and you gotta know this is 360 degrees of fighting, man. It's like everybody wants to be seen as a good guy, so you clap hands afterwards, and you give the chest bump, and yo buddy next time. But that doesn't change the fact that you piss people off. That shit lasts. That's why we're fighters. I'm nursing along vendettas from 1977. What do you think that and that's not unusual in this community. So TJ is going to make him spin. And while TJ makes him spin, man, he's going to be getting kicked in the face by a lot more D-list celebrities. So I guess it behooves him to figure out how to make hay out of it. But in the end, who gives a fuck?
What about you? Do you give a fuck, Nate?
I thought it was genius. It got a fair amount of web traffic. It got people talking about Cody Garbrandt, which is not something people have been doing since he got knocked out by TJ Dillashaw. So I think he handled it pretty brilliantly. And I think the whole thing was cooked up anyway. I think it was all bullshit and hokum and kayfabe the whole way through. And, it's a win-win. I mean, it's not like Jean-Claude Van Damme's getting a lot of Google attention these days anyway. Yeah. I mean, what was his last...
Hold it. But he said you're Cody Garbrandt. So from your point of view...
And I said, good job. That's what I said. I said...
He's complimenting himself. He's complimenting himself on his brilliance.
Well, I thought we were supposed to advise Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
Have I seen the show before?
Who am I? Why am I here? Stockdale.
Oh, a great song by Void. Who am I? Why am I here? You remember that?
I thought we were supposed to be giving advice to Cody Garbrandt. You're Cody Garbrandt, or you're Cody Garbrandt's advisors. That's what I always take it to
That's not actually what he said, but okay.
That's true. But if we're going to be all literal about it. But no, I thought they handled it brilliantly. I mean, it's a nothing news week.
Yeah.
The guy's got nothing cooking otherwise. I mean, MMA is event horizon, and dude is...
Yeah, it's sad. It's fucking sad.
And dude is an ex-champ, a one-and-done champ. I think he'll get the title back at some point if he sticks with it. I think he beats TJ.
That's a big if, man, because TJ is going to keep him fucking spinning.
Yeah.
As I would as well.
But insofar as given where we are, 2018, and the MMA media environment, I mean, this isn't a stunt on the level of whatever year it was when Steven Seagal and Anderson Silva allegedly paid Anderson Silva and Lyoto Machida to pretend that he gave them secret moves to win their fights, which had to be one of the most low-down bullshit stunts in MMA history.
And I was still bummed by the fact that Daniel Cormier never whipped out that special move that Seagal showed him against Johnny Bonajonio back in the day.
Well, he got knocked out before he could get to it. But, I mean, but given where we're at, this was small-time, piddly PR stunt, and I thought it was beautiful. I mean, it did good traffic for a couple days, which is more than anything else Cody Garbrandt or anybody at Alpha Male has done for a long time. So,
speaking about traffic and hats off, Nate, you are Cris Cyborg. The UFC and Amanda Nunes want you to fight Amanda Nunes in the UFC, despite your PR campaign to duck her. Is it time to just take this fight, or is it best for your brand to use your hands for crushing cans?
The thing is, Nunes is a can for Cyborg just as much as anybody else. I mean, she's going to be tougher than 90% of the potential opponents Cyborg's going to get, but I'm not seeing anything out of Nunes that can beat Cyborg. Her only chance is to knock her out in the first round, which I don't see happening. I mean, Cris Cyborg wins this fight 95% of the time. So fundamentally, as I've said many, many times on this show, I could just play a tape of me bitching about Cyborg's PR strategy. It's like, pull your head out of your ass, woman. Just stop talking. I mean, she gets the worst advice. She says the stupidest shit. She's always wrong. Stop it. Just take the fight. Take the fight. They're giving you fights. They're giving you money. Take the fight.
Hold on. Come on. Now, you have to be honest here and consult with the man who knows it all, Mr. Tito Ortiz, the PR power behind Amanda Nunes. You can't. You have to contend with his genius
behind Cyborg.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So. I mean, this is him giving her this terrible advice.
Contend with that genius, my friend.
Crushing the juice
well, the
box,
irony
baby.
is, Tito managed his own career pretty brilliantly. You know,
right.
Tito didn't duck the right. I mean, Tito always took the right fight. That was his hallmark, and he blew it up into feud after feud. And he could make something out of nothing, like Ken Shamrock when Ken Shamrock had nothing going on. I mean, and they managed to stretch that out for 3 fights. When the first 2 were blowouts. And the third one was like one of the biggest rated Spike TV shows of all time for UFC.
Tito actually,
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why the guy, such a great player, such a bad coach.
He reminds me of Richard Pryor. Did you ever see Harlem Nights?
Yes.
I did.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Did you see Richard Pryor sleep through that movie?
I think it was the MS, man. I mean, I really.
It was something else. I think he had it out for. I think in a very Picasso way, he had it out for Eddie Murphy, which Murphy believes at this point in time, and was just like, "I'm gonna get in dude's movie. I'm gonna fuck it up. I don't know why. It's just the way I am." You know, like Picasso, like I'm saying, on his deathbed, he had that fractious relationship with his son, and his, you know, the reconciling, and the son comes over, he's all tearful, and Picasso reaches up from the bed and pats him on the hand, and he goes, son, you're young. I'm old. I wish you were dead. There you go. Yeah, welcome to Picasso land. And I think that's got to be some portion of that going on with Tito, because the guy has made, I mean, considering that he was a guy who used to steal checks out of Tank Abbott's cars, and we haven't seen Tank Abbott fight since that backyard bout in Ohio where they paid him in a Safeway bag full of cash against Scott Ferozzo, no doubt. We haven't seen him fight, and Tito just retired. I'd say he's been fairly genius about his PR moves, but Cyborg is there's, you know, he needs to ask that Diana Ross. She needs to ask that Diana Ross question. Tell me where the road turns, because she doesn't have a lot of options. Realistically, given the clock and how it's working, where she is, what she does to her opponents, doesn't have a lot of options. Not if she wants to make the quote big money, end quote.
And it's taken her this long to get the UFC just to book her fights, basically. I mean, just, you know, she's proven she's one of the few draws they have left. I haven't seen the pay-per-view numbers yet from this latest event, but they paid her $500,000. I mean, you know, she's finally a serious player, which she's earned. Just roll with it, girl. Go with it. You won. You won. Take your victory lap. Take the money. Take the money. They're not even asking her to cut down in weight. I mean,
now just let's advance the game a little bit. What do you think precisely Tito was actually telling her? Okay, all right. This is what next time you talk to Dana, you go in there and you demand. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think he's telling her?
I do not have any idea. I really have. It's one of these things where it's completely inexplicable. It's like she's from a different planet. I don't have any idea what the woman thinks she's accomplishing, because it's not like there's somebody out there. There's no division. There is no featherweight division in the UFC. Who they got? Nobody.
But do you think it's a deny for even more money? It's like, who are they going to put? Who do they have that can headline pay-per-views? Who do they have that's a reliable source of violence? She is. So maybe this is a Tito-guided shitty way of negotiating for more money. I don't know. That's the only way I can possibly see it.
I think this is that Nap Commission moment where somebody leans over and they put their hand over the mic when she's trying to talk, and then she changes what she says.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, it's like one of those old porn casting movies where they're talking to a virgin who's never done porn before, and she says no, and then suddenly they stop the camera and they come back and they're having sex. That's what I
actually. I know a woman who lost her virginity to fucking Jim South.
He's the guy that would like recruit the porn girls back in the 90s and then send them to Ed Powers.
Yeah.
Better him than Ed Powers.
Lucky Ed.
Whatever, man. That's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I mean, it's all pretty heinous.
I thought you were talking about a professional wrestler.
She wanted to lose her virginity. It goes, who better to do it? And then she sought him out And
She sought him out.
Wow.
actually, I think she saw him out because she just had this grandiose visions of losing her virginity on camera because it's like people would pay for that. She never
And
thought
he just couldn't resist and did it off camera for nothing.
he had to audition. I don't.
Well, that's just bad business on his part because, like,
No, because he probably didn't pay her for that audition.
no,
So that
well,
was probably
but
good
still, I mean,
business
he
on
could
it,
have, you know, auctioned that off. I mean, didn't some girl auction off her virginity to a porn producer for a lot of money? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. So she was really a virgin. But, okay. Yeah.
well, whatever. But I mean,
Yeah.
you know, anyway,
Okay,
it's tough to get off the porn
We
thing.
got
I mean,
far field here.
but yeah, I just think Cyborg is reflexively against whatever the UFC proposes at this point, and isn't thinking, and is just.
Groucho Marx.
I'm against
Whatever it is, I'm against it.
I'm against it.
What about
Absolutely.
you, Eugene? I know you added some nuggets.
I've been giving. Well, I'm a big Cyborg booster. Ever since she was so nice to my kids. What? Go ahead. What do you say?
Just one thing. I went to the UFC rankings page. Women's featherweight literally says no rankings available for this selection. I mean,
Oh man.
there's literally nobody in the division. Fight Nunes, for fuck's sake.
At this point, what you need to realize, if more than one or two MMA shows are talking about you, and if the bald one is actually calling you, you probably are in a nice position, because I don't know that anybody else is fucking swinging needles any which way or another. It's really dire. It's like that scene with the Saint Elsewhere where the cops are going out, or Hill Street Blues. Be careful out there. There's nothing. Unless you want to talk about Big John McCarthy, or unless you want to talk about Jimmy Smith cast off of Bellator, unless you want to talk about the power move Scott Coker's making, and the price tag, Rory McDonald's price tag strategically slipping out about how much he's making now. Unless you want to talk about that, there's really nothing happening with MMA under the aegis of the UFC at this point in time that's significant. I'm geeked for the Miocic and Ngannou, and even Miocic said it's a shocking travesty of a fucking sham that the guy said, I gotta take time
out. What question are you answering, and why did you just spoil like 3 different heel turns?
Hey, I don't know what your heel turns are.
He has an expansive answer.
You gotta realize I'm like Johnny Appleseed, except with poop, and it's my job to poop over everything.
Rein him in, Alexi. You've completely lost control of the show.
All right, fine. My point is, okay. Yeah, you got my point.
Except I don't even know what question you're answering. What topic are you addressing? Is this knuckle up? Just ghosting on?
I was making a point, and you crucified it. So there you go.
I see.
No,
I see.
I mean, the thing is, if you're in the UFC, my point was very simply, if you're at the UFC and you got that scintilla of attention paid to you by anybody, you got to realize you got a clear field. Run, because you got a clear field. Johnny Boney Joni's still up in the air. McNuggets is they're still running video of him from a year ago to entertain themselves, and hasn't been showing up at the gym as far as I know. So go for it. Go for the fact that you're the story of the day, and use it profitably, like Jack Nicholson said in The Departed. Plan accordingly.
That's right. So Eugene was just trying to say, Cyborg's every fighter. It's all in she.
There you go. Thank you.
All right.
Nate understood that.
So
I understood you were taking over the airtime.
Yes.
Well, now that's your time.
Hey,
on.
The heel turns to no Gene's own. So the heel turn is this bullshit about Big John McCarthy going into the Bellator booth. I mean, how many good refs are there in MMA? And Big John's not even what he was, but I still think he and Herb Dean are the all-time best. And I mean, they're referees. They've fucked up plenty, and it seems like Herb especially is getting worse lately. And Big John in the last 5 years has not been the old Big John, but still, it's not like we've got extra Big Johns laying around here. I mean, it's like, what? And I've heard him on the mic. You don't need Chael Sonnen and Big John McCarthy in the booth. The two of them together in no way, shape, or form add up to one Jimmy Smith. And it's pretty clear the UFC's poaching Jimmy Smith. But
Fuck Jimmy Smith.
I don't
I
get
mean,
this
he's
Jimmy
okay.
Smith love.
He's a song. You got to have a play-by-play man. You got to have a play-by-play man. There aren't that many good ones.
Why not you?
Why not me?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't do that well. I don't want to research the shitty fighters on the Bellator cards and hear from Hungary. His mother's name is no, I'm not doing that. I mean, no way.
He gets a call and sees the check and is like, and his mother's name is.
Kids, I'll see you in 3 months.
And he sits there in a fur coat with a cigar.
Yeah, exactly. Jimmy who? Jimmy who? Oh, Big John, you and Chandler, the best team.
You guys
are working with
you guys are great.
It's an honor to work with you guys. No, I mean, seriously though, like Big John and Chael in the same booth, like. Hey.
That's well, you're in the midst of making a heel turn, or is it?
Yes, I'm in the midst of making a heel turn.
Okay, go ahead.
Pull the back scratcher.
No, because I'm shocked that you missed the. I'm shocked that you missed the tri-level chess move that constitute. You know, it's like I can walk into your house, creepy crawl, Charlie Manson style, and I can rearrange your fucking furniture at will. You know. Don't think that the you know.
You're saying that UFC creepy crawled Bellator by stealing Jimmy Smith.
I'm saying that Bellator is counterattacking
by stealing Big John that the UFC tried to exile from the sport.
That doesn't matter, man, because it's all about what made you look, right? We're not talking about you or me or Alexi. We're talking about the casuals. It's like, oh shit, Big John, and that means something to them. Have you seen these guys mobbed after the fights? I saw Stitch sign more autographs than I've signed for Oxbow in the last 5 years after a fight at the must have been the SAP Center in San Jose. Stitch. So John McCarthy is a personality. He's been there from UFC #2. He could get in the booth and make fart noises for the next 5 fights, and he would still have succeeded in getting people to. And it's not an equivalent thing. You know, Joe Rogan is trying to clean it up. Like, oh man, Jimmy, we had our eyes on Jimmy, and what? Jimmy is the one who's providing cover for Rogan to escape the building. You know.
It's true. It's true.
Of course, he's going to say nice things
so you
about.
shat on his. You shat on his.
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear.
I'm
anxious to hear. What's your feature called again? Do you still have a feature on the show? What is it? It's something lost.
I don't actually remember. I got kind of confused about stuff now. You know, mostly because I'm getting older. I just can't remember like I used to. All right.
Eugene, who's in the Lost Battalion?
Well, let's go down. Let's go down the list because we have a few entries here, and I'm stealing this from a D-man who's one of my most reliable spies, but he hit it on the money. Zach Cummins versus Thiago Alves. Dark Star. Uriah Hall versus Vitor Belfort, the most horrible place to be in the Showstomper Pantheon. Event Horizon. That doesn't work well for anybody. And Lost Battalion, you got it, baby. Choi versus Stevens. Thank you. Drops the mic, walks out. Deny it. I dare you. Like that Russ Meyer line from that Russ Meyer movie, Mondo Topless. I dare you to try to listen to what she's saying.
Why Choi and Stevens, man?
Jeremy Stevens.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We haven't done that. What's going on?
No, that's. I mean, there's some guys you just say their name and you just kind of. You know, like a buddy of mine.
Wasn't he the one that?
Yeah. I always get him
confused. That's a segment from the past.
I was getting him confused with Cody Garbrandt, but this guy had big. I mean, the thing is, you can't help but feel. What is that I always screw up that Johnny Rotten line. You can't help but feel like if you're fighting the UFC, you can't help but feel slightly fucking robbed. It's got to be. It's like you are one of the last few whores in a diminishing whorehouse, and that's got to feel. What is that great that girl group from the 50s? You can never go home again. You know how it feels. Bad. You know, I mean, so these cats are fighting, and I mean, I'm sorry, I was going to step over your heel turn, but you interrupted me in the Ngannou and Miocic thing. I don't know if you caught that in the reports. The guy was taking PTO to do the fucking fight. PTO, personal time off from his firefighter job to do the fucking fight. That's it. That's the fucking it, man. That's fucking it. That's it. There's no. You think he's a fireman because he likes running into burning buildings? He likes hanging. He likes getting paid to lift the weights.
He's hell bent on protecting Cleveland from fire.
Man, that really. I mean, you think? Oh, hey, welcome to Tasty Freeze. Hey, ain't you Tom Brady? Yeah, but you know what? I really like ice cream, so I work here in my spare time.
Well, it's totally old school. It goes back when you ever see these documentaries about fighters or even football players from back in the day, and is like when they were working at the factory, they would practice.
Yeah, right. Except John Peretti wasn't buying $36 million beach houses or pulling a Zuckerberg and buying up houses around your house in Vegas so you could turn it into like a buffer zone.
Hey man, he needs that because he's going to pay those boxers. What you talking about?
Oh, the boxers.
You want to make some money, you got to go through him.
Man, that's fucking embarrassing.
Sure all the boxers, the mid-level boxers, are going to have enough money to pay for houses and support families.
Yeah, that is absolute fucking total dog shit. I mean, I
can you imagine being a UFC fighter and hearing that shit? It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
or a prospective UFC fighter, like a up and coming amateur wrestler or whatever, and you hear that UFC heavyweight champ has a day job.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked at all to pick up the paper tomorrow. Everybody picks up papers, but to look at the headlines tomorrow and see that Dana White was caught directing traffic with his pants on backwards singing Jump Jump by Chris Cross. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what the plan is, but I can't figure it out. I cannot figure it out at this point. Oh, and I had one other Lost Battalion communique, and it had to do with Joanna Jędrzejczyk carrying the torch in for the 2018 Olympic Games. You know, you might want to get about figuring out where in the mist you are, and I don't think that torch is going to help.
Is she carrying it across Poland or something? Like,
I don't know. There's a picture, man. There she is, carrying and thumbs up because she's going to be a champion. Yeah, you know that song that Barry Manilow once sang about Lola, who was a showgirl
at the Copa
when there used to be a show.
Yes.
And on that positive note, thanks for following us. Thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Genius Ross and Alexi on Kid Nate. Facebook MMA Pancholes.
There's a thumbs up.
Man, I was in the mist. I couldn't even fucking, the mistiness came through my computer. Couldn't even read. What's going on?
Let's not be confused. We're all in the mist.
I got it. Sorry, I got to break the wall. Audience, sorry, Alexi is way into Bitcoin and prices are up and down, and he's just like he's lost his mind with the cryptocurrency.
And I've been in the mist since 1987 when I had the good misfortune of appearing in Leonard Part 6 with Bill Cosby. So that's how I know. I can hear the Weidmans and the Silvers. I can hear them all. That's how I know.
Man. But can you hear If the Shoes Fit? How do they get into that, Eugene?
Right now, we're going to log out of this show right now, and we're going to log into If the Shoes Fit. So all you have to do is go from here, go below, click on it, and in 3 minutes' time, we'll be at If the Shoes Fit. That's and I got to put a plug in for patreon.com/thestomper. Listen to it.
That's right. We'll be back next week. Learn the solid if I did it. We don't know what we're going to be talking about because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.